Alright boys, I don't usually do this, but hey, first time ever making a comparison video. Forgive me if I do scuff, but without further ado, let's get started. Oh, right, PS. I'll also include timestamps in the video embedded if you don't want to hear me yap, and in the description. Now, let's go. Ikuze. Well boys, so to recap on what each unit does, Rico is essentially a SP consumption buffer that boosts crit damage and attack. She also boosts the damage of the element inflicted at a certain awareness. Her skill 1 is an elemental damage amplification. It's based on the elemental attack that you inflict on the enemy, but if A0, it only counts towards wind. Now, her skill 2 is just an AoE party-wide attack buff that scales off her crit mult. You'll be seeing that a lot throughout her whole entire kit, by the way. Skill 3 is her crit rate buff, her CR buff, and her crit damage buff. Again, it scales off of crit mult. And lastly, her highlight, it's basically a attack buff, a crit damage buff, and guess what it scales off of? You guessed it, crit mult. Alright boys, so next is the twins. The twins are very versatile, but for the purpose of this video, I'll only be talking about their strategist side, since we are comparing to another strategist, that being, duh, if you clicked on this video, Windvast, XDD. To run strategist twins, you must run the Ice Fire Mask and the Nuke/Psy Mask. So to describe skill 1 and skill 2, the Ice and Fire Mask, all it does is it just buffs team-wide attack, and the Nuke and Psy Mask gives a pierce rate buff to the highest attack value single target or AoE DPS. As for their skill 3, Mask as 1, since we are using skill 1 as Fire and Ice and skill 2 as Nuke/Psy, not only does it do almighty damage to an enemy of your choosing, but it also increases the CR/crit rate since we are running them in the strategist role. Anyways, now I'll go ahead and show you the mindscapes and skills and cards. Do note that I will only be comparing A0 and A1 Wind versus A1 Twins, and not A0 Twins, due to the vast majority of people owning A1 Twins as compared to A0. Don't worry, A0 Twin havers, I know your pain, Pepe hands. Without further ado, I'll show you the rev cards, mindscapes, and skills. Ikuze. Alrighty boys, so I forgot to say this, but we'll be using the Twin Strategist highlight. It's going to be the attack boost/damage team-wide buff highlight for the whole party. But without further ado, let's go ahead and show you the rev cards, skills, and mindscape. Ikuzo. So for the A1 Twins, they are 10, 10, 10, 10. I can confirm. Here's the mindscape for the A1 Twins I'll be using. They do have their weapon as well. And this guy is also running Negativity and Power. Alright, let's move on to Windvast. Boys, so this is the A0 Rico that we'll be using. As you can see, 999 skills. We have Creation and Worry, the SP Recovery set, plus the crit damage set. Also, we have the 5-star weapon along with that as well. Here is the mindscape of that A0 Windvast. So not fully maxed out, but, you know, he's getting there. So that will be the Windvast we'll be using in today's video. Without further ado, I'll go ahead and show you the A1 Windvast we'll be using in this video. Shoutouts to my boy Afro, by the way. This is the A1 Rico we'll be using today. It has the 5-star weapon. It's running the SP Recovery set and the crit damage set. And lastly, here's the skills. And here's the mindscape. So it's almost there. And anyways, without further ado, now that you've seen the investments, let's go ahead and do some test runs. And by the end, I'll give you the data and my thoughts on who's better. Enough yap, let's go. Ikuze. A little disclaimer, some of these rotations aren't super duper optimal, but in this case, the reason why I guarded on this turn is so that I don't kill too fast with twins, so that I can align buffs. And due to that, I'll make sure to copy the rotations exactly the same, aka guard flare on turn 1, and use the same skill / highlight rotation concept on every other run moving forward. These rotations are just for testing only. Only use them at your own jurisdiction. You don't have to if you don't want to. But anyways, I'll talk to y'all in a bit. Hey boys, I do understand that this is an A0 run with wind, but I kind of wanted to use S1 here because A, this is wind weak, and 2, I want to try to get it as close as possible to A1's parse as I possibly can. But genuinely, if this is like a neutral boss, then you want to use S3 and the S2, okay? So just a little advice for her rotations if you're not running this against a wind boss. Well, boys, since this is practically the same rotation as A0 Rico, I'll go ahead and make this run on 2x speed, okay? I'll talk to y'all in a bit. Well, boys, the run's almost over. I'll go ahead and show you the data, and I'll give you my thoughts overall on Rico versus the twins. Let's go. Alrighty, boys. So here I present to you the final data / damage parses that I have accumulated throughout the testing of this video. So as you can see, A1 twins definitely have the bigger parse, being at 64 mil, compared to A1 and A0 Wind Tempest that have 61 mil and 54 mil respectively. But if I were to divert your attention to the right side of the screen, that is the solo damage of Florette on his last turn with all buffs active for each support character on his skill 3. If you look at A1 and A0 Wind final damage on the last multi-hit of Florette, it's around 991k and 897k. That is a huge diff compared to A1 Twins, who's only at 830k. So that is about a 16.5% gap between A1 Twins and A0 Twins, and a 6.5% gap between A0 Rico and A1 Twins, respectively. So, gold. What does this say about the Twins versus Rico? Well, in my humble opinion, I think both units are very good, and you must pull both, in all honesty. But if I were to tell you, in my opinion, which one is better, and again, disclaimer, this is my opinion, I think Wind is way superior in every way, especially on single target versus Twins, right? Now, the reason why I say this is because the A1 Rico that I used in this video wasn't even 10-10-10. Wasn't even fully, maxed out on Mindscape. Compared to the Twins A1 here, who was basically maxed out on everything. So, this isn't even her full potential. So imagine if she was 10-10-10 and fully Mindscape. She would blow A1 Twins out the water. Now, the problem is, A0 Rico is dramatically way worse than A1 Twins. Because bear in mind, I didn't use S1 here with A0 Rico because it was a wind team. But if this wasn't a wind team, you would be forced to use S3 and the S2 rotation with Rico. And that is a dramatically worse diff than using S1. So, in general, A1 Wind Vast, in my opinion, is definitely better than A1 Twins. But if you're A0 Wind, then you are definitely way worse than an A1 JNC. Alright, overall, the final diff isn't really that huge. If you're low on gems and gotta skip on one or the other, you'll be fine. Overall, just do what works for your account. But if you can, pull for both, because they're great to have. I can easily tell this video was definitely out of my comfort zone. But if you enjoyed it, maybe leave a sub. We are literally 40 subs away from 500 subscribers on YouTube. And other than that, look forward to my Astrolab guide video coming in like a few weeks. And until next time, y'all, deuces!